Dear students, in the last discussion in the chapter Matter in Our Surroundings, we have started discussing about the general properties of gases, where we have discussed about the shape and volume, we have discussed about density, we have discussed about melting and boiling point, we have also discussed about compressibility of gases. So today we are continuing the properties of gas, and there we are concentrating over the parameter called diffusion of gases. You know that gas particles move with high speeds and the intermolecular spaces in gases are very large. These properties allow a gas to diffuse easily into another. Thus, the gases mix together very spontaneously, despite their differences in densities. This process, as you already read, we came across, is called diffusion. The following two examples show that diffusion at work in our daily life. For example, the first one, when a bottle of perfume is opened in the corner of a room, the fragrance of the perfume spreads in air and covers the entire space of the room. This is surely due to diffusion of gas. The second point, the second example, the smell of the food which is getting cooked by your mom in the kitchen reaches our nostrils even if we are not physically present in the room. Why this is happening? This is because the particles constituting the smell mix with the particles of air, spread out and reach our nostrils. Other examples of diffusion are the spreading of virus on sneezing, dissolution of oxygen and carbon dioxide in seawater, etc., etc. So, this is about diffusion of gases. Now, condensation of gas. Let us discuss about the condensation of gas. Conversion of a gas into liquid state is called condensation. Condensation may be carried out either by increasing the pressure on the gas or by decreasing its temperature. On increasing the pressure, the intermolecular distance between the gas particles gets reduced. The intermolecular force of attraction between the particles increases correspondingly. Finally, a change in state from gaseous to liquid takes place. The intermolecular force of attraction can also be increased by decreasing the temperature of a gas. Now, dry ice. What is dry ice? I think you are listening, many of you, not maybe all, many of you are listening this name for the first time. Carbon dioxide gas at very low temperature and under high pressure can be transformed into a solid which appears like ice. The solid so obtained is called dry ice or dry cold. The spelling is very peculiar, DRIKOLD, dry cold. On reducing the pressure on the surface of the solid, it gets directly converted into vapor without changing into the liquid state. So, dry ice is a sublimable substance. Now, condensation of water vapor. Condensation of water takes place on a cold surface. This can be shown by one activity. Let us take some pieces of ice in a glass container. Ice absorbs heat from the air around the glass and starts melting. The moisture present in air is thus cooled and finally gets condensed on the outer wall of the container as water droplets. So, this is about the condensation of water vapor. Now, the last property that we will discuss about gas, the pressure exerted by gas. Dear students, you know that gaseous particles are having least amount of intermolecular force of attraction. So, the particles of a gas are continuously moving in all possible directions with different velocities. In this process, they collide with one another and also with the walls of the container. In doing so, they exert some pressure on the walls of the container. The force applied by the gas particles per unit on the walls of the vessel is called the pressure of the gas. The pressure of air is called atmospheric pressure. The pressure of air at sea level is 1 atmosphere. The unit of pressure is Pascal. Now, then we can overall compare now. We have, I think, more or less completed the properties of solids, liquids and gases. So let us once more compare the properties of solid, liquids and gases based on some common parameters. The first one, the intermolecular space. Solids have very small intermolecular space. Liquids have larger intermolecular space in comparison to that of solids. Gases have the largest intermolecular space, more than that of liquid, more than that of solid. Next parameter is intermolecular force of attraction. Solids are very strong, they have very strong intermolecular force of attraction because the particles are nearer to one another. Liquids have weaker intermolecular force of attraction in comparison to that of the solid. Gases have very negligible intermolecular force of attraction in comparison to liquids and gases. Third parameter that we can consider is density. Solids have very high density. Liquids have low density, lower than that of solid. Gases have very, very low density. Fourth parameter is position of the particles. Positions of the particles in case of solid is fixed. In the case of liquid, not fixed, particles can move freely but within the bulk. And in the case of gas, position of the particles is not fixed at all. Particles can move freely throughout the available space. Now, fifth parameter, energy of the particles. Energy of the particles in solid is low. In liquid, little bit higher than that of the solid, and in gas the energy of the particles is very, very high. Sixth parameter, shape and volume. Solids have definite shape and definite volume. Liquids have no definite shape but has definite volume. Gases have no definite shape and no definite volume. The last parameter that we are considering is compressibility. Solid is least compressible because the particles are already very nearer to one another. Liquids are more compressible than that of solid. Gases are highly compressible, much more than that of liquid and much more than that of solid. So these are the comparison based on the intermolecular space, intermolecular force of attraction, density, position of the particles, energy of the particles, shape and volume, and finally compressibility. Now the next part which we'll discuss is interconvertibility of the states of matter. All the three states of matter are interconvertible. That is, matter can be changed from one state to another state. For example, solid can be changed to liquid by giving heat. Liquid can be changed to gas again by supplying heat energy, and the opposite is also correct. That is, gas can be changed into liquid by cooling. Liquid can be changed into solid also by cooling. So this is about interconvertibility of the states of matter. Let us perform one activity. Let us take the example of ordinary water. When water that is in the liquid form is cooled to 0 degree centigrade, it is transformed into ice, that is the solid state. When heated to 100 degrees centigrade, when water is heated to 100 degrees centigrade, it boils and goes into the gaseous state, that is the vapor state. On cooling, water vapor gradually passes into the liquid state and finally to the solid state. Thus, we see that matter changes its state with the change in temperature. But what happens inside the matter during this change of state? We need to understand that also. Let us take about 200 gram of ice in a beaker. Insert the bulb of a thermometer in the bulk of the ice, at the midst of the ice. Let us note the temperature. It should be 0 degree centigrade. Now, heat the beaker with a burner slowly. Ice begins to melt, but the temperature still reads 0 degree centigrade. We will observe that the temperature remains fixed till all the ice melts into water. On further heating, temperature of the water starts rising and finally reaches to 100 degree centigrade. Now water starts to boil, but the temperature remains fixed at 100 degree centigrade till all the liquid water is converted into vapor. Now explanation. Why this thing is happening? Heating increases the kinetic energy of the particles of the ice. As a result, the vibration of the particles about their mean position of rest is also enhanced. The heat energy which is supplied is consumed in overcoming the intermolecular force of attraction existing between the particles. That is why the temperature recorded in the thermometer shows no change. The particles now move freely with increased speed. This results in the melting of the ice. The temperature at which a solid goes into liquid state at atmospheric pressure is known as the melting point of the solid. The melting point of ice is 0 degree centigrade or 273 Kelvin. The conversion of a solid into liquid is called the fusion of the solid. Dear students, I think we have discussed a lot in today's part. We have discussed about the remaining properties of gas which were left out in the last discussion. We have compared finally the properties of solid, liquids and gas based on various parameters. Then we discussed about the interconvertibility of the states of matter. And so finally we have discussed about the melting point of the solid and finally the fusion of the solid. This much I think is enough for today. In the next discussion, we will discuss about the latent heat. What is the meaning of latent heat? That we will discuss. We will discuss about the difference between steam and boiling water and many more things. So till then, goodbye.